Good evening, and welcome to Committee of the Whole. Today is December 1st, 2025. Madam Deputy Clerk, thank you for your work this evening. Welcome to. Okay, on this evening's agenda. Item 6, approval of the work session minutes, Committee of the Whole minutes, and regular City Council meeting minutes. Do we have any questions for Madam Deputy Clerk on any of that? Okay, seeing none. That brings us down to unfinished business. We have the 2026 proposed budget. For item A, item B, the year-end budget adjustment. Do you as council have any questions or want to talk about the proposed budget? I feel like we've beaten that horse quite a bit, but we certainly can talk about it if you'd like.
I do have some
Councilman Brandt.
proposals
Would
for,
Okay, do you want to discuss proposals now or wait until that comes to the floor?
it's up to you.
We certainly can speak to them if you'd like.
Okay. So I sat down with our CFO for about 3 hours last week and went over everything, and I came up with a way that we can cut our property tax mill rate in half. If we take that $356,400 that we cut out of the budget at the last meeting, and we then we increase the projected sales tax, online sales tax, by 300,000 to 1.1 million, then everything balances. And that's Trisha's math, not mine. And I'll tell you how I came up with that for the online sales tax. The proposed amount for the revenue for online sales tax this year is 800,000. Last year we took in 854,000. So the proposed amount this year is less than it was last year. I have the numbers for the last, well, since its inception. And again, this is from an email from Trish, so this is her numbers, not mine. Online sales tax in 2021, 283,000, 2022, 532,000, 2023, 683,000, and 2024, 855,000. It's gone up every single year by at least 150,000. That was the smallest amount that it's gone up every year. She gave me so the number in here for year to date is actually the August number since we're 2 months behind. So she looked up the September number, and as of September, we've taken in $632,921. The last 3 months of last year, we took in 69,000, 71,000, and 231,000. So if all we take in this year in the last 3 months is what we took in last year, the last 3 months, we will be well over $1 million already this year. So I think $1.1 million is a very good estimate of how much we'll take in online sales tax this year. And I don't want to speak for Tricia, but she does agree with my numbers. And we sat down, we used her budget spreadsheet. She came up with the numbers to make everything balance. And everything looks good.
Okay, she certainly can speak to that for herself. Tricia?
So, um, you know, I just made the numbers balance. He asked me to add a certain amount to the online sales tax, which he just talked about, and then reversing what happened last meeting to lower the property tax. I just gave him some calculations to make sure it balanced.
Okay.
If he decides to make that move and you guys decide to vote on that.
And would you be in agreement of his numbers and what he's suggesting?
I'm not in agreement. I,
So
I'm a
is
little
that-
more conservative than David is, so, and, I mean, he's pointing out that we have been a little too conservative, but I'd rather have more money come in than I anticipated than the other way around.
Yeah.
I may,
Yeah, as soon as I ask a quick question, if you would, based on the calculations where we're at right now this year, versus the last couple of years, does that math track?
The math tracks, yes.
Okay. Councilman Brandt.
um, I wouldn't say I'm conservative. I would say that I, over the last 7 years, we have drastically underestimated our revenues to be conservative. I've been bringing,
I'm saying I'm a little more conservative than you are.
Oh, okay.
That's what,
so last year, we were $1.278 million over projected revenues. The year before, 814,700. The year before, 1.4 million. The year before, 1.2 million. We've been consistently drastically underestimating our revenues. I am not asking for $1 million like I think it will be. I'm asking for 350,000 is all, or 300,000, excuse me. Even with that 300,000, I still believe we will be $500,000 or better over. I could have been a lot more aggressive than I was with my recommendation. This was a really clean, easy way to reduce the cost of living in North Pole. It does not reduce anybody's budget whatsoever. Everybody is fully funded. The fleet funds do not need to be adjusted because those are a flat mill rate. They are, police gets 0.185 mils, fire the same, public works 0.085 mils, and capital projects is 0.16 mils. It's not a percentage of the amount we take in, it's a percentage of the property value. So change in the numbers in the revenue does not change the numbers in the expenditures at all.
I have concern over a couple of budgets, the admin budget and the clerk's budget, when it relates to the legal fees that were cut. I do believe that they are too thin, and that will end up forcing us to do a budget amendment year somewhere in the year, whether it's middle, late, or whatever. And if that's what council would like to do, we certainly can. Like it has been stated here before, just because it's in the budget doesn't mean we need to spend it. But if we don't allocate that money, we don't really have a balanced budget. Looks great on paper, but in reality, it isn't balanced. Just my 2 cents on that. Councilman Brandt.
The numbers I came up with, those legal fees, were going over the last 5 years of audits or 7 years of audits and budgets. They have never gone over, drastically over any of the numbers that I came, and most of them came considerably under. So we need to change the way we're using our lawyer for sure, and that will help immensely. I'm fairly confident in those numbers.
Okay, appreciate your confidence. That moves us on to 11B, year-end budget adjustments. Yeah, go ahead.
There are two
Councilman Brandt.
little things.
Sure.
So I had a conversation with with Chief Smith about the cleaning. And I don't want to speak for you, but again, but we had talked about moving the $14,000 that you put into the overtime into professional services to provide for professional cleaners rather than having his staff work overtime and do the cleaning.
I'm actually having a meeting with them tomorrow morning to go over those numbers and so they can hopefully give me some idea how close they'll be to that target for this next year.
The cleaning.
Then one last thing that our CFO asked, I'll just have her speak on it, Fund 33. You asked me to.
So the first meeting in November, Tim talked about doing removing some grants, one that we had approved and one that's not approved yet. I budgeted for those in Fund 33, but because we're not accepting those grants, what's budgeted in Fund 33 just needs to be zeroed out.
That's page 94.
And then I think, Tim, you're going to go back on the Protect grant and try to rearrange it. But at that point, once we get a number from them, council accepts the grant, then we can budget for that grant.
So on Fund 33, the entire amount of 623.
I think if you just make the amendment to zero out Fund 33, I can do that and I can change it on the ordinance page.
Again, that's something our CFO asked me to do. That wasn't my suggestion. So I'm just bringing it up.
Okay, any other discussion? Item 11B, ordinance 2025-14, end of year budget adjustments. Tricia, do you want to give a flow down on that?
This started out as to pay for the legal fee bills that we have now. And then we had a couple things with the some other things that we wanted to shore up before the end of the year. One of the things that we had been meaning to do is the Memorial Park expenses for the ceremony that's held in the spring. Those funds got paid for out of a suspense account just to make sure that the accounts were paid. But this Memorial Park at one point was tied in with the Public Works donations and grant fund. I did a lot of research on that there was a amount of money when the park was originally opened, grant money that we got from the borough, and that was never spent. And so to keep that money for the purpose of that donation, it was cleaner to put it in its own fund, and I did that last year. But we didn't budget for what's occurred, and we did put a budget figure in the 2026 budget as well. They have a ceremony every year there. They buy flowers, they do some other things there.
Madam Deputy Clerk, could you put that on the screen since it isn't included in our packet as far as the financial breakdown of that? That should be considered page 21. Yep. It would be from the previous packet if that's easier to.
It wasn't in the previous packet either.
It's in this packet.
The fiscal note's not.
On what page?
One in the back is 25-20.
Yeah.
This one is 25-14.
Okay, while you're looking, we can circle around to item C, ordinance 2025-19, the security camera access. I know that there was some discussion at our last meeting about postponing that, and putting that on the table. Ms. Rolfe.
Yeah, the intent when that comes up is to withdraw it. There's
Okay.
not been time to review it with any of the department heads, and with the budget ongoing and then several of us going to AML, it's not likely. So we're just kind of kicking it down the road.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And any opposition to that or discussion to that? I think that works really well. Thank you for that. That brings us on to item D, request council for the PFAS fire station. Before we move to that, Tricia, did you find that?
I printed out the fiscal note because I did also would like to change one of the items instead of transfer from the fund balance. It would be a little cleaner on our end when we're doing the budget adjustment to do it from the transfer out in the admin budget. And I printed out and highlighted that. If somebody wouldn't mind making that amendment.
Is that in ordinance 19 or 20?
2514.
Okay,
And then also, as I talked to you about earlier today, the settlement funds that came in last December, while the money has been, the actual funds were moved from Mount McKinley Bank over to AMLIP so that the water reserves and the sewer reserves could earn the interest. In our funds on our side, in our accounting, the actual $2 million is still sitting in the litigation fund. It would be cleaner to move that over to the water reserves and the sewer reserves. It's just an internal move, but I don't have a budget to do that. So I wanted to see if somebody would make that amendment to add this to the 2520 fiscal note.
can we get a copy of what you're looking at and then your suggestions when we get there?
Yeah, it's highlighted.
Okay, I think it makes a lot of sense to have you speak to that, and then we can make that amendment as we need, please.
If we're still on 25-14, there was $8,000 to pay for that HR consultant. Is that what that $8,000 was for?
Yes.
Did we ever get a final bill? Last time I heard it was 5,500. I'm just wondering.
We
for
we
8,000.
had some funds available. This was just a little bit more to pay for it. I talked to Maggie today. We haven't got an invoice from her yet, but
You anticipate it being more than the 5,500 that was quoted?
It'll be the 5,500 plus travel costs.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, that brings us on to the PFAS fire station.
So I put on everybody's table right in front of their chair a letter from the state of Alaska. It's the DEC's response to our last set of testing at the fire station. And this is where they've recommended the different sites that they want us to test. And it explains why they want us to test so many wells is so that they have more information so that they can determine how much of this PFAS is ours and how much of it is from another source. There were some questions at the last one, so it's postponed. So I figured I'd give everybody this letter for their information. If you'd like to postpone it again or just remove it from the agenda, I can get Shannon and Wilson potentially to come to a council meeting and they can explain in greater depth if you still have questions about why they're doing what they're doing. They can give us more information about PFAS and how it works and what DEC is requesting that we do.
Any questions about this? Yes, please. Councilman Claus.
Thank you. So I presume, Director Glidden, that the DEC that wouldn't be a request, it would be a requirement, most likely.
In their letters, they use the word requests, but I think that if we don't respond to their requests, there'll be some requirements along with some fees.
Thank you.
So I did ask you a couple questions on this afternoon. Seems like a lot of wells, and then based on our last meeting, it was stated that I believe it was stated that we used the PFAS or the foam from the refinery that we received, and that they would be able to tell if it was from Eielson that was coming in or from the refinery. But if it's the same foam that we received from the refinery, how would they be able to tell in well testing who's responsible for what?
So when they're testing, if it exists, they're also testing the amount of it that exists there. And they've got such a history of tests. They've basically got a map of how much was put into the ground at the different sites. And when they're doing the tests, if they see a spike in a particular compound, then they know there must be another contributor in that area. And that's actually how they found out that the fire department was a contaminated source in 2018, was because they were doing their tests and saw an irregularity in their testing. So they can tell with pretty good accuracy. They call it a signature or fingerprint of the different chemicals, but then they also do math to determine how much was there last year, how much should be there this year, and if they see more someplace than it should be, then they try to figure out where it came from and why. So it's a kind of complicated system, but they have ways of being relatively certain where it came from. But they could definitely explain it better than I could if it's something we're really worried about.
$50,000 is a lot of money, and to test so far down the road, down Peridot, down Badger, based on where Flint Hills and Williams used to be, and that water flow transgression. I'm looking at a 2018 water sampling map that I pulled off the ADC website. That was done in 2018 that identifies some hot spots, and the flow of that. If there was a separation between the Flint Hills contamination and the city of North Pole contamination, it would be a lot easier to see. So maybe going back in history and looking at where those two merged and how they differ would help. But $50,000 is a lot of money to spend on testing wells that may not have been contaminated by the city of North Pole.
So the fact that they don't have enough data points to determine where one contamination ends and the next one begins is exactly the reason they're requesting this testing. DEC wants the city of North Pole to know where their contamination is and where it's going in the future. So that's part of their request, is that we figure it out. And that's what the Shannon and Wilson proposal is to test these wells that were pointed out by DEC to test for the purpose of finding out where that line is between the two spills or potential other spills. We don't know how many spills there are.
Can we see the report that they have from Flint Hills to see where that and those tests are and where those wells are being tested from the Flint Hills? Because they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 really hot spots before it even gets to the city of North Pole, as far as could be from the fire station. If they have such hot spots there along that side, and we're testing, how many wells, 18?
Uh,
Your recommendation was how many wells to be tested? I would expect that Flint Hills would be testing 50 to 60 wells, just in
17.
comparison. 17?
yeah.
Okay.
So DEC actually requested that we test somewhere closer to 30. But Shannon and Wilson has been working with other clients or sources of contamination and has received their data from 2023 and 2025 on some of the wells that DEC has requested that we test. So we're not testing those ones. In the recommendation, it shows some of the ones that were requested and aren't being tested because they've got the information from somebody else in 2023. I don't know that without written consent from another party, if DEC or Shannon and Wilson can share their proprietary test data, but somebody is sharing with Shannon and Wilson, and they are using that in their reporting for us.
Any other questions? All right, that leaves us about 3 minutes to take a break before our meeting gets started. Is there anything else we want to discuss before we get going in our meeting? Okay, take a little break and we'll get started.
It's not. Okay.
How's it going, Jim? How you doing, brother? Thanksgiving? Yeah, I did. I did. Yeah, I had the ham and the turkey. Actually, they.
Yeah.
A few weeks back,
Yeah.
you know, so.
They'll be back.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and,
You
yeah.
go down and see them at all?
I'm gonna try to make it this year. Sometimes I do, sometimes. Out to Texas for.
That's right where I was gonna look.
I assume that would, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
yeah. So I hadn't gone the first 2 years. I've
Yeah.
been going, you know, Cloverfield.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, I got that resolution
Yeah.
coming through, and so I'm gonna go
Yeah,
check it
cool.
out.
Cool. Well, we'll hook up down there.
Yeah,
That'd be
definitely,
fun.
for
All
sure,
right.
yeah.
We'll see you.
Thanks.
Can I email you tomorrow? I'll look it up and.
And Nick, the Jensen speak.
Oh, without looking, I'm gonna say that we're pretty in line with the state.
It's been a minute since I've seen this. Been a little while. Been a minute.
Maggie. Nice to meet you.
Have yourself?
Hi, I've got big shoes to fill.
Is there anybody here who would like to say the invocation this evening? Madam Deputy Clerk, are we live? All right. Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the North Pole City Council. Today is December 1st, 2025. Madam Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Brandt,
Here.
Mr. Skips,
Here.
Mr. Claus,
Here.
Mr. Schuster,
Here.
Ms. Rolfe,
Here.
Mr. Williams, Mayor Turch.
Here. Please stand as we say the Pledge of Allegiance and then continue standing for the invocation.
I of the United States of America and to the republic for
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for allowing us as a governing body to make decisions for our residents and for our area, for our community. Lord, bless those decisions that we make this evening, that they are the best for our area. Watch over us as we go about the business of the city. Watch over our friends and family who aren't able to be here with us this evening. And bless the state. In your most holy name we pray. Amen. Brings us on to citizens' comments.
Any person wishing to speak on an item not on the agenda needs to sign up on the list located at the public testimony table. Respectful standards of decorum and courtesy should be observed by all speakers. Remarks should be directed to the council as a body rather than one member of the council or staff. Comments are limited to 5 minutes.
John, please state your name and area of residence, please.
My name's John Poirier. I live in North Pole, 1001 Black Bear Turnaround. Good evening, Mayor Turch and members of the North Pole City Council. I'm reading to make this go quickly. My name is John Poirier, and I serve as the City of North Pole's representative on the Fairbanks North Star Borough's Historic Preservation Commission. I'm here tonight to encourage the City of North Pole to apply for certified local government status with the Alaska State Historic Preservation Office. The CLG program is a federal, state, local partnership created under the National Historic Preservation Act. Communities that become CLGs gain access to dedicated grant funding. 10% of Alaska's annual historic preservation fund is reserved specifically for certified local government projects, and City of North Pole is not eligible and has not been partaking in this for as long as I've been involved with this. These grants are administered by the state and can support preservation planning, surveys of historic resources, and rehabilitation projects that strengthen our community's identity and economy. Currently, the borough's Historic Preservation Commission operates jointly with the City of Fairbanks under the City of Fairbanks CLG status. This allows the Boroughs Preservation Commission to access federal preservation funding, review National Register nominations, and implement preservation planning at the local level. The Borough Commission essentially uses the City of Fairbanks CLG designation as its legal and administrative framework for preservation activities across the wider area of the borough. By definition, CLG status applies only within the boundaries of the City of Fairbanks. Despite this limitation, the Fairbanks North Shore Borough Historic Preservation Commission, unique among similar local government historic preservation entities. My involvement with the borough's inner workings began in 1985, and that experience shaped my view of the borough as a service entity that is focused narrowly on the City of Fairbanks rather than as a body with broader borough-wide scope. Other Alaska communities like Sitka, Ketchikan, and Nome have successfully used CLG grants to preserve landmarks, strengthen tourism. North Pole deserves the same opportunity to invest in its heritage and future. On the back side of the page I have here is a chart that compares the proposed situation with North Pole as a CLG to the current situation with only the City of Fairbanks as a CLG. It makes sense to use the existing administrative structure of the borough's HPC rather than becoming an independent CLG. And I think each of you had a copy of this, so you can look at that and I won't waste your time reading it. So I'm here to respectfully ask the council to authorize the mayor to begin the process with the Alaska State Historic Preservation Office. This step would not only preserve our past, but also help North Pole in its pursuit of sustainable growth and cultural vitality. And also note that I'd volunteer my time to do the legwork necessary to make all of this happen and to submit everything to the state Historic Preservation Office. And it's just to give you an idea what it, whole thing looks like this. This is a draft thing that I put together for my own personal notes just to make sure I knew what I was talking about. It's a pretty detailed process. It's not something that would happen overnight, but I recommend that we start it. So thank you for your time and consideration. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now.
Any questions? Yeah, Councilman Brandt.
What would the steps involved be?
So the first step is just to call up the state and say, hey, the City of North Pole officially wants to become a certified local government, and then we'd get authorized documents and forms from the state to start filling out and proceeding it. It clearly, one of the things that eventually has to happen is there's no ordinance in the city that I'm aware of that addresses historic preservation. Got sample ordinances from different cities, how to put all of those together. We could model some stuff and put things together. It requires having a board or a commission that meets on a regular basis to deal with reviewing projects and stuff. Well, the borough already has that and already does that, if you look at the chart, but the borough is just doing it using the City of Fairbanks authority. If we would combine and essentially work with the borough to do all of the administrative things. For example, there's a requirement that you have an architect, archaeologist, historian, a number of specialties, professional specialties on the commission. Borough has all of that already. We would be using those specialties just like the City of Fairbanks is using the borough as its working agent. So keep in mind that, we're a city, we would be directly below the state, and the borough is kind of a lateral service organization, just doing the work for the city. So they already have the structure in place. I'm on that commission. I've been on that commission for a number of years representing the city, but there's never any City of North Pole projects that come to the commission because the city doesn't have its own CLG status. We get projects from the federal government, all the federal agencies, the two air base, Army base, federal buildings, All of those projects come through the borough. The city's projects come through the borough. There's no North Pole projects that come through the borough. So as the city's representative, I don't represent anything for the city because the city has no stake in the game right now. I'm suggesting that we apply for this status. We would have a stake in the game, and it would open up another avenue of funding that the city hasn't tapped into yet.
Any other questions? Councilman Claus.
Mr. Poirier, thank you for your longstanding service to the city of North Pole, especially on the boroughs, what is it, the HPC, and also for the Grange. So thank you for keeping us in mind, and I think it's a wonderful idea. Thank you.
Councilman Brandt.
Would this be for the city of North Pole, the city limits of North Pole, or the greater North Pole area?
So the truth is, by definition, it would be for the city of North Pole, but can just look at the wiggle room that is going on right now. So the borough is able to extend that, and this would be purely up to the city. The city would determine how it would extend beyond the city boundaries, or we have the defined governmental boundaries that are the map. That's the starting point, but we could use the same latitude that everybody else uses to whatever the city would define it as.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you for being here.
Hello, I'm Nick Laginis with the Fairbanks North Scarborough Assembly, and don't have much to report, but one of the things that I do have to report is that we've recently, through the elections, have received some new members, and with that, some new committee appointments, and another process we're implementing is borough representatives for the city of Fairbanks and for the city of North Pole. Myself and Tammy Wilson have been assigned to be the borough reps for the city of North Pole. I was born and raised in North Pole, lived here all my life, 53 years. A little bit about myself. Like I said, born and raised here, lived here all my life, union member for 35 years and operating manager out on Port Wainwright, taking care of the maintenance out there. And got into government just for my animal advocacy. And with that, been able to make some changes. It's nice to see some new faces and other people getting involved with local government. So yeah, that's one thing that's going on. New members, and Tammy and myself going to be out here on an alternating basis. I hope to, after hearing the last speaker there, there does seem to be that, the North Pole, not always has a light shined on us out here, and so I hope with myself and Tammy, we're able to shed some light on the city of North Pole, bring forth some of these projects that need to happen. Obviously, we're going into the CIP season, so there is projects there, and that's one way of getting projects for the community out here, at least on the list. And so there's that. This Thursday, the Interior Delegation is putting on a presentation at the borough, so it's a good opportunity to see your local delegation, bring forth what's going on at the state level. Speaking of the state level, next week is the AML, the Alaska Municipal League Conference, and it's for members of the AML, which most of us are, and there's an opportunity for training and resolutions and things like that. Proud to say, one of the resolutions that's going to be voted on is one that I brought forth for a statewide spay and neuter program. And so with that, I hope to be able to answer some of your questions. But if you have anything for me, fire away. I hope you can question. And look forward to seeing you guys more often. So
Thank you for being here this evening. Any questions, council? Councilman Brandt?
I'd like to hear about the statewide spay neutral program.
yeah. So
Neuter, excuse me.
there's a lot of tax dollars that go towards taking care of overpopulation from abandoned stray animals. Not to mention the costs that are associated with having to euthanize them because, you know, we can only hold them in our rescues and stuff like that, shelters for so long, and there's a cost associated with that. And then, and not to mention the other horrors associated with that. So with the ML resolution, it's more broad focus. So it has to be a resolution that is for all, every community in the state, every municipality. Right now, the most situations like this are taken care of by nonprofits, rescues, animal advocacy workers, and things like that, where they're flying out veterinarians to the rural communities, setting up, you know, spay and neuter programs like that to try to just get in front of it. A lot of the influx that we see into the major communities, such as like Kenai, Anchorage, Matsu, Fairbanks, are coming in from the rural communities. There's no veterinarians out there, and so you know, one female can produce, you know, a couple litters a year, and you can imagine what happens. And not only when you have that much stray population going on, there's you know, they'll pack up and they'll kill other dogs, kill other children, and there's you know, bites on record in like the Yukon-Kuskokwim area where it's like 2 people get bit a day, you know, over the course of a year's time. So I have a lot of data on all this stuff and costs associated with it. Not to mention the when these communities don't have, you know, whether it's animal control or village safety officers, things like that, they have to take overpopulation into their own hands by their own means. So there'll be a point to where they'll let everybody know, hey, we're going to do a culling this weekend, so make sure your dogs are inside because we're paying $25 a tail, and they just shoot the dogs and stuff like that, or drown puppies and other horrors. And so other things that go along with it are the you know, the mental issues that are associated with, you know, one of my coworkers, for example, her father, who since died, you know, that was his job as a child growing up in the villages. He would go to his grandfather's village, and that was his job for the summer, was basically just kill dogs. And so that left a scar on him so deep that he couldn't have a dog growing up. He just, you know, felt too guilty. So there's a lot of things going on with it. So sorry to elaborate on the details, and I have a whole lot more, but when you bring forth a bill like this, you know, the first thing is like, how are we going to pay for it, right? The fiscal thing, and we all know that our belts are getting, you know, tighter and tighter. And so one of the proposed funding sources that I'm advocating for is there's especially license plates that you can get, you see, for retired vets and things like that. So that's one of the proposed ideas. I'm in the process of designing a specialty license plate now to help fund this program, pick, click, give, other things like that. So, and ultimately to be able to have a program that is oversees the process of spaying and neutering throughout the state. Because right now, it's just simply being done by nonprofits. And not that they're not doing a good job, they are, but it's just, there's just so much they can do.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you for joining us here this evening, and thank you for the report. I appreciate
Look
it.
forward to seeing you guys more often. So, appreciate it.
Madam Deputy Clerk, is there anyone else signed up online who'd like to testify?
Got nobody signed up online.
Please step forth. You will put your name on the paper there. Oh, it already is. Okay.
My name is Adam Rolfe. I live in Lake Drive. Last week, I was able to view the special session on YouTube, and it actually worked great. You guys already know, but the microphone moving it, and there's quite a few times where there was somebody speaking that I couldn't hear at all online. So I mean, if we can find another mic for the table over there, that'd be awesome. But if not, if we can, it might be better. I know people get ahead of themselves and just start talking, and forget. Another suggestion that I noticed while I was viewing it online was, in my opinion, when I'm viewing it online, I'd rather highlight on the screen who's speaking as opposed to the content they're speaking about. So, I mean, suggestion would be to focus, to prioritize the speaker rather than the content, the packet. The packet can be either printed, downloaded on other media or other devices. So that's not as important for the people viewing it. And I don't think most of you view that 90% of the time, because you have the packets in front of you, but just some suggestions. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Anyone else like to testify today? Okay, seeing none. We'll close out citizens' comments. Moving us on to action item 5, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve the agenda.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Williams, just remind you, into the mic if you will. Thank you for that. Any amendments? I'd like to make an amendment to remove the executive session. We've had it on for 4 weeks. Okay. And that fails for lack of a second. Any other discussion on the agenda? Madam Deputy Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, yes, Councilman Claus.
I'm not sure if it's the appropriate time or not, but are we removing unfinished business item C?
That would be the time to make that motion, yes, sir.
Thank you.
So moved. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Any other adjustments to the agenda? Madam Deputy Clerk, please call the roll on that.
Okay, on the motion to postpone the,
It would be to withdraw.
Yeah. Withdraw item 11C, ordinance 2025-19, amending Title 2, Title 20, Chapter 090, security camera access.
on the motion to withdraw ordinance 2025-19. Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mayor Church.
Yes. Anyone like to change their vote? And then on the overall agenda, we do that by unanimous consent unless there's another amendment to be made. Okay. Through unanimous consent. Thank you, council. That brings us on to item 6, approval of the minutes. Let's start with A from the November 17th work session. A motion to approve.
Motion to approve the November 17th, 2025 work session minutes.
Second.
Moved and second twice. Any discussion on those minutes or amendments? Can we go for unanimous consent on that? Any opposed? All right. Brings us on to item 6B.
Move to approve the November 17th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on that or amendments that need to be made to that? Can we go for unanimous consent on that as well, council? Excellent. Thank you. That brings us to 6C.
Move to approve the November 17th, 2025 regular city council meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on that or amendments that need to be made to those minutes? Seeing none. Any opposed to unanimous consent? Excellent. That brings us on to item 7, communications from the mayor. I better go back to page 1 here. I'd like to start out by thanking Mayor Josh Verhagen with the city of Indiana for hosting the Interior Mayor's meeting. We had a chance to tour the city's heat and biomass boiler, which produces heat for their school and certain city buildings, saves quite a bit on fuel, but then also produces biochar. They use that biochar in compost, growing and improving planting and tree health. We also had a chance to tour the city's water treatment plant. At the meeting, we discussed interior topics such as the railroad, tourism for our community economics. We did decide as a mayor's group that we will hold the next mayor's forum or mayor's quarterly or mayor's interior mayor's meeting in the Fairbanks area sometime in early 2026. I attended Fast Planning Policy meeting where we talked about the MPO, that's the Metropolitan Planning Organization area. It was discussed why it's the way it is and the state's non-approval of that. That's sitting with the state, should be in the governor's office to approve that boundary so that we as a group and as an area can move forward in taking care of those planning discussions and funding here in our own area, but we don't have an approved boundary. I also went to the Tiger Team meeting where the Tiger Team is changing its focus due to the Alaska gas line. So their intent is to, for the next 12 months, focus on gas line infrastructure, things that we need for the interior gas line. I'd like to give a shout out to the Giving Machines. I attended a reception for them. They're staged at Santa Claus House and they're open 10 to 6 daily. If you haven't been by to check that out, they really are kind of neat machines. I stopped by over the coffee cup at KJMP, talked about some community events and updated them on some city business things that are happening. That was prior to our special budget meeting on the 24th. So allowed those listeners to be able to listen in and speak up if they had, if they chose to. Had the opportunity to sit down with the City of Fairbanks Mayor O'Neill to discuss our two communities and how they can work together to achieve goals. Had a great meeting last week with our utility staff to discuss the findings from the recent utility audits. We discussed safety and next steps for our utility to be able to provide the best service possible. And thank you, Tim, for putting that together. I really appreciate that. City of North Pole is still looking for an area representative for a couple of committees here. The IGU Board Committee, it's an appointed seat. That's the Interior Gas Utility, which allows the City of North Pole to have an appointed seat on the board to make decisions as they move forward. Our area has had a wonderful representative, Mr. Mike Miller, but he is stepping down. That representative would be meeting once a month at the first Tuesday of every month at IGU headquarters. We also have a committee seat for the Walk, Ride, and Roll Committee on FAST Planning, which is the Fairbanks Area Surface Transportation Planning Board. This committee changed its name last year. It was originally named the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, but it would be great to have somebody from North Pole who uses our area trails, biking, walking, running, to be able to represent North Pole. And it's not just the city of North Pole, it's the area of North Pole, down Badger Road. Really anyone we can get from the North Pole area who would be interested in serving on that board and making decisions and recommendations would be absolutely wonderful. And they meet once a month, Thursday, for a couple hours in the evening from 5 to 7 p.m. The city also has a dedicated appointed position at the Fairbanks North Star Borough Economic Development Commission. Along with other appointed positions, this commission's goal is to coordinate public and private resources to support a resilient and sustainable economic information between local businesses, residents, and guests alike. They review and analyze and report on local economic development and taxation to gauge additional economic development activity. The meetings are 4 times a year for this committee, so if there's anybody interested in that, would be great. Switching over to things that are happening in our community, since I don't have mayor's comments at the end of the meeting. December 5th, which is coming up very quickly, there's a Fairbanks Soil and Water Conservation District. They are having a natural resources showcase from 2 to 4 at 590 University Avenue. You can contact Joni at 907-978-1727 for more info, or show up December 5th, 2 to 4 at the University Avenue location. On your calendar, please add in North Pole Winterfest this year. That is December 12th through the 14th. December 12th, Santa Senior Center is also hosting a Christmas candy house decorating party from 6 to 8. And then also December 12th, there's a Christmas themed vehicle parade happening from New Hope Church on Broadway Road, down Badger through the city of North Pole and ending at the Welcome Center starting around 6:30. You can decorate your vehicle with Christmas lights of every color for this parade and anything else that's Christmas themed. December 13th is the Holiday Bazaar at North Pole Mall starting at 10 a.m. and the fireworks spectacular at 6 p.m. on the 13th. Light up the sky over Hotel North Pole. On December 14th, the candle lighting service will be held at North Pole High School starting at 2 p.m. The King and Queen of North Pole will be reading the night before Christmas, which has been a North Pole tradition since 1977. That's the end of my report. Any questions of the mayor? Yeah, please, Councilman Schuster.
I have one, Mr. Poirier's been in here a couple times to talk about that CLG status. What do you know from your seat what you'd need from council to fulfill that?
No, I do not. I haven't had a chance to look into it.
Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. That moves us on to communications from department heads. Madam Deputy Clerk, can we start with you this evening?
Sure. I don't really have a lot to report. I will be attending the AAMC conference with AML next week, along with, there's council members and the mayor going down for AML. I'm just gonna try and fill some big shoes tonight and do what a clerk needs to do. I will ask that you guys, if you're making amendments, to write them on the slips of paper for me tonight. And that's all I got.
Okay, any questions? Okay, moving on. Chief Heineken, since you're in front of the mic.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Just a couple of things from the fire department for tonight. Last week, I was in contact with Interior Region EMS, and they let me know verbally that our latest Code Blue grant application has been accepted. Last year, we put in for a new gurney for our ambulance, which for those of you that remember when we bought the last ambulance, we did not buy that one with a gurney, which is usually the norm. So we were desperately needing to retire some of our older, more used units. They're about just under a $10,000 item, and we do have a 10% match that will come out of our EMS budget that we have plenty of funds for. So we were really happy to hear that that had finally gone through. It had taken quite a while to get through this grant process. So we're looking forward to getting that order placed and receiving the item. The only other thing I have for tonight is just a reminder that December 15th kicks off the first night of the Christmas caroling route for the fire truck. And as always, we will be doing the route around the city, playing caroling music, lights flashing. We'll get the permitting process underway shortly. So for those of you that are awaiting that, and yeah, we look forward to doing it once again, and that goes through the 25th, of course. So that's all I have tonight. I can answer any questions.
Questions, council?
I have one. Do you guys publish that route normally, or?
We don't, and we've had requests, to change it at different times. We're hesitant to do that because we're not always consistent. I mean, it run volume dependent with this. It is the active duty staff that are staffing that. It's not off duty staff staffing it. So call dependent, things change time wise and route wise. So yeah, we like to give the staff the flexibility of altering that if need be, but they do try to stay very consistent. They leave the station about the same time. They try to drive the same speed. So after the first night or two, you should be able to get a feel for when the norm is for that apparatus to go by your place.
Thanks.
Good question, Councilman Schuster. Councilwoman Rolfe?
I actually had the same question because they typically
Okay.
come through our neighborhood about 8 p.m. and my kids are in bed by then. So they're super sad because they always miss it. And so I was, I guess, wondering, same question as to whether or not you could post it. I don't know if you've seen Steve's Volunteer Fire Department does a Wave at Santa or whatever. They post theirs, like an ETA of it, an hour to 2 hours before it leaves on their Facebook page. Could you possibly do something like that?
I mean, we can definitely look into the different options for doing that. Like I said, once, it's a 10-day route and it's very consistent usually. So if it's coming through your neighborhood at 11 or 8:45, hopefully not 11, we're not out that late. At 8:45, 7:45, it should be fairly consistent. Like I said, dependent on emergencies. We always have that latitude there. But yeah, that's a great idea to start using social media to try to predict that stuff. Yeah, we'll look into it.
Hey, any other questions? Please, Councilman Claus.
Thank you. So Chief, one of the things I noticed with the gurneys, one of the reasons why they might cost so much is the ergonomic advantages to the people working with them. So your firefighters and EMTs, paramedics, et cetera, don't get injured as often.
Yeah, absolutely. They are high-tech pieces of equipment. They've evolved a lot over the years. So yeah, we're happy to be able to replace one of our aging units.
Hey, any other questions? Seeing none. Brings us to Director Glidden. Good evening.
Good evening. So for Public Works, we had our first good snowfall this last weekend. So Monday morning, they did a great job pushing snow. Everything looked good. They sanded. And for building department, I don't know if you guys noticed, Domino's Pizza is now open. So they've gone through the process and they're up and running. Some people from City Hall have said they've tried it and it's really good. So facilities are still out there doing their thing, keeping everything pumped. Not much to talk about today. You got any questions?
Councilman Schuster.
Um, I can make this a question. I called Cody, I think early last week or mid last week. Golden Valley was out clearing some right of ways on my road Homestead, and they knocked over a speed sign and just kind of left it on the sidewalk there. But Cody he said he had already noticed, but I was curious if you guys would contact Golden Valley, if I don't feel like they did a great job cleaning up, but in general, if they're hitting, speed signs and stuff like that, if there's notice sent to them or.
I haven't sent any notice to them, but we did have a resident call this morning saying that one of the trees fell on their property and hit something, and they were going to call GVEA, but we as a city haven't reached out, but we could.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Councilman Claus.
Just kudos to all the lighting and the rest that's been going up around the city and functioning really well. And thank you for trying to keep the sidewalks clear as well. I like that sort of little 1 or 2 inches of snow so it can actually get a grip on the road instead of or on the sidewalks instead of the ice. But thank you so much.
They do a great job.
Any other questions? Councilman Brandt.
I just wanted to, I actually did talk to Cody already about this, the igloo that you put that they put up in the Terry Miller Park. That looks really nice, and I think it's been really popular. So they did a great job on that.
Awesome. I'm glad people like it.
Okay. Moves us on to Chief Smith.
Not a huge report for you, but just a couple things I don't think I mentioned last time being a special meeting. We finished up our APOA food drive, which brought in a total of about 137,000 pounds of food area wide. Our share in that was about 54,000. So this year we're about 3,000 shy of troopers, about the same of what we beat them with last year. So for members of the public, we'll be out there hitting it again next year. If you want us to beat AST, you know where we'll be, Safeway, Three Bears, and hopefully Walmart next year. So it was a very great time though, enjoyable. I particularly liked this year getting to talk to hundreds of people here in the city as they came into both Three Bears and Safeway. To me, that's almost as valuable as the food drive, just having those interactions with people. And I appreciated seeing some of y'all come out for that as well. A couple other things. We'll be getting ready to stop with a cop here in the next couple weeks. It'll be nice this year because in years past, we've gotten together after the shopping event and actually wrapped presents together. And then with COVID, we kind of ended up splitting up and all going to the respective agencies. Well, this year we'll be back together at West Valley, actually after the event, wrapping the gifts for the kids. So I'm excited about that. Just a note on the Christmas light parade that I'm obligated to give as the chief of police. The Christmas lights are being allowed under the parade permit. Once that parade is over, I would remind the public that those lights are still illegal per Alaska statute. So those that are participating need to have some way to turn the lights off prior to leaving the staging area at the end of the parade. And if you are out driving around with lights on after that, I can't speak for your contact with law enforcement, with other area agencies in the area. So just so that you're aware of that, it is what it is. It is Alaska statute at this point. So that's all I have for tonight. Oh, I will be gone. I'm flying out tomorrow night. I'll be down in Anchorage at the FBI National Executive Conference for 3 days. Be back Friday evening late.
Questions for the chief? Okay, thank you, Chief. Moving on to the CFO.
I don't have a lot this evening. I did meet with Councilman Brandt, same with Chief Smith and Chief Heineken. We met on Wednesday for a little bit about some budget issues, budget questions he had, not issues. There has been a number of in-category budget adjustments, which I plan on sending out I had another one come in today, a request today. So there's probably about 3 of them that you'll be seeing shortly that are within category. We're getting to the end of the year. Budgets are getting a little tight in some line items. Michelle will be attending the GFOA conference next week, Tuesday through Friday. And that's this year I opted not to go. And so Michelle will represent our city. And appreciate that. And I'll take any questions you might have.
Questions for the CFO? Seeing none. Thank you. Okay. That moves us on to item 10, ongoing project reports. We don't have any. Brings us to item 11A, ordinance 2025-13. Can I get a motion to adopt, please?
Move to adopt ordinance 2025-13, 2026 proposed budget.
Second, Skips.
So moved and seconded. Discussion. Councilman Brandt.
I'd like to make a motion to zero out Fund 33. That's on page 94.
Second.
So Fund 33 on the ordinance would be on page 18. So moved and seconded. Any discussion about this? Staff, any concerns about that?
No concerns.
Okay, thank you. Madam Deputy Clerk, please call the roll on that change.
The amendment to zero out Fund 33. Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Mayor Church.
Yes. Would anyone like to change their vote? Okay. Any further discussion? Please, Councilman Brandt.
Like to, in the police department budget on page 47, I would like to, I guess I have to do it in 2 different motions. So I would like to reduce overtime regular from 48,000 to 34,000.
Second.
So if I may, Councilman Brandt, we're working off the ordinance itself that is in part of our budget. So if you want to change the overall budget for the police department, you could do that on the ordinance itself rather than line item. Go ahead. You don't have to raise your hand, sir.
Okay, it's not in our ordinance because it's the categories within the police department. We have to change these because they're separate categories. We can't just do it later on. This is something that our CFO advised me of. So basically, what we're doing is Chief Smith had originally had an additional $14,000 in the overtime to pay his staff for cleaning. And we're moving that $14,000 to purchased services, professional services under the purchase services, and adding $14,000 there. So we're just, they're different categories, so we do have to do this during budget.
The ordinance won't change.
The ordinance
It's
number.
not
won't
going to
at
change
all.
under that category, under the police department expenditures. It's not going to change. He's just moving it between categories.
Okay, is there an additional one that you would like us to consider at the same time, since you said you had to?
Oh, I thought we had to vote on one at a time.
We certainly can, or we can vote on them as a group.
Okay, well, the other one then, so we'd just be moving $14,000 from overtime regular to professional services. So reduce overtime regular to 34,000, increase professional services to 18,000.
So the overall budget stays the same.
Yeah, nothing changes.
Okay, perfect. Is that acceptable, Chief?
Yes.
Okay, So that doesn't necessarily change our ordinance, so there's no need to vote on that since the overall budget will stay the same.
You made us vote on each individual line item last time.
During the
It is-
workshop, yes,
It
it
is
did.
different categories.
Madam CFO, would you like to have a vote taken on this, or does it matter?
I think it would be cleaner and it might be easier for Maggie's first time to do it, to vote on
Perfect.
every change, if you don't mind this time.
Deputy Madam Clerk, please call the roll on that.
Do you have the amendment?
I did not have time to write that one down. I'll get it to you. Did you just want to vote on them one at a time or both at the same time?
Let's do it one at a time, Councilman Brandt.
Okay.
That would be great.
I move to reduce in the police department wages and benefits category, reduce overtime regular from 48,000 to 34,000.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this? Do you have anybody who would like to publicly testify on this? Do we have anyone signed up who would like to testify on this?
We do not.
Right. Please call the roll on that.
Okay. Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mayor Turch.
Yes. Anyone like to change their vote? Okay, where would we like to go next, Council? Councilman Brandt.
To increase professional services from 4,000 to 18,000.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? Anyone signed up to testify on this, Madam Clerk?
No.
Okay, please call the roll on that.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Mayor Turch.
Yes.
Anyone like to change their vote? Thank you for filling out those sheets, Councilman Brandt, and getting those to our deputy clerk. Okay. So that is passed 7-0. Councilman Brandt.
Okay. We talked about earlier in the committee of the whole, but I'll touch on everything briefly here. We have an opportunity here to reduce the mill rate in half from 3.5 down to 1.75. In order to do that, we had $356,400 in savings on the budget during the special meeting last week. And looking at the online sales tax, the projected online sales tax is $800,000 for 2026. But in 2024, we actually took in $854,000. And I had our CFO look up the most current number that we had for the year to date. And since we're 2 months behind, that would be September. So as of September of this year, we've already taken in $632,921. Last year, in the last 3 months, we took in 69,100, 70,900, and 232,000. So that's $370,000 plus. So if all we take in this year in the last 3 months is the same as last year, we will have taken in well over $1 million this year. We went over how much we took in on online sales taxes since our inception. And it's increased steadily every single year by at least $150,000 a year. Last year was $170,000, $180,000. So we feel confident that we will take in at least $1.1 million in online sales tax this year. So if we increase the projected to the $1.1 million, then we can reduce the projected property tax down to $650,000 and lower the mill rate to 1.75 mils. So I move that I don't know how to do this. Well, I guess first we would, let's go ahead and I move that we increase the online sales tax revenue projection from 800,000 to 1.1 million.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? We have anyone signed up or who would like to give public testimony on this?
No.
Council
sorry.
discussion? Seeing none, Deputy Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the motion to increase the online sales tax from 800,000 to 1.1 million, Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mayor Church.
No. Would anyone like to change their vote?
And that passed 6-1.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Brandt.
I move that we lower the projected property tax from 1.3 million to $650,000.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion on this?
Sorry,
Yep, please.
I just-
Councilman Schuster.
I just have a question and might be off topic here, but didn't at last meeting, I don't have updated numbers in front of me, I guess, didn't we park some money in somewhere that we would need to take out as well?
Need to add it back into the,
Yeah.
yeah, that's next.
Okay, sorry.
We changed the online version, but I realize there's going to be changes tonight. So after this passes, I'll get you new sheets for your books.
Thank you.
I would like to say something. In 2017, 2018, 19, and 20, we saw the mills for our city reduced. It's in your budget book. I don't know. I think it's page 10 as a history. And then 21 and 22, we saw those mills increased to a half a mill more than they were originally in an attempt to try and make changes. I'm not against this ordinance. I think it makes a lot of sense. But when we start moving things around like this, it will take the borough a little bit to get used to. It will adjust what our residents pay in their escrow account as they make a payment. So they're going to receive a refund in their escrow account for the difference in the mills that we aren't charging them as a city. And then the following year, their payment is going to go up, essentially playing yo-yo with their house payment. I'm not a huge proponent of this for that reason. I think it's great to be able to save our residents money. But the constant changes, if we happen to get behind, could certainly cause some difficulties. Any further discussion on this? Please, Councilman Claus.
Thank you. I would think as far as being property owners here, that people would like to entice, maybe perhaps entice is the wrong word, but attract other people to become property owners here because of the low rate. That would increase our revenue ultimately, I believe.
Okay, thank you for that, Councilman Claus. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
On the motion to lower property taxes from 1.3 million to 650,000, Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mayor Turch.
Yes. Would anyone like to change their vote? Seeing none, the count on that is,
It passed 7-0.
thank you. Councilman Brandt.
Okay, and to get this to balance out, we just need to, I move that we change general sales taxes, the sales taxes, general sales taxes from 5,660,465 to $5,644,065.
Second.
Could you repeat those numbers again, please?
Reduce from 5,660,465 to $5,644,065.
Okay. Discussion on that. Madam CFO, please.
You said reduce, but you're increasing, right?
No, I believe
The general sales tax
right, we had to reduce it by 6,400 to,
last meeting. And you're just reversing that now?
I don't have you didn't give us the numbers from the last meeting, so I'm going off of the original numbers here.
If I could help here, Madam Deputy Clerk, would you mind putting up the actual ordinance for sales tax off of the online so that Councilman Brandt can see the numbers as they were updated from our last meeting? Okay. Thank you very much. So up on the screen there.
I can't see that far, I'm sorry.
Here, let me
So it's-
see if I can turn that a little bit and bring
And-
that a little bit closer for you.
No, it's 5304.
That works as well.
Okay, yeah, I don't have these updated numbers in my packet, so it would be an increase from $5,304,065 to $5,644,065.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? Madam CFO, does that track with what you need to balance?
Repeat that number one more time.
$5,644,065. Those are the numbers off your spreadsheet.
Yeah. We're going to increase that by another $5,000 to make the balance.
That's because we lowered that.
Yeah, I combined the two, online and, general sales tax and miscellaneous vendors. That's a lump sum there. So I think if you just go back to the mayor's recommended budget, I think we're good.
I'll just say that that's a number that I got that you gave me off of the budget spreadsheet when we got done balancing everything.
So do you want to amend your motion, Councilman Brandt?
If the numbers have changed for some reason, yeah, just tell me the number we need and I'll make that motion.
$5,654,65.
065, yeah.
Okay,
I meant to $5,654,065.
does the second concur?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rolfe, okay, excellent. Any further discussion on this? Any public testimony? Is there anyone signed up for public testimony?
There's
on
not.
this? Okay. Call the roll, please.
On the amendment to change the general taxes from $5,304,065 to $5,654,065. Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Church.
Yes. Would anyone like to change their vote?
That passed 7-0.
Okay, thank you for that. Anything else on the budget, council? I would like to propose an amendment, Councilman Brent, since you didn't actually propose to change, you spoke to it, but you did not propose to change the actual mill rate.
That needs to be in an ordinance.
It is an ordinance right here, on line 21, page 1
Okay.
of that. So if you want to make a motion with the numbers and adjustments that you've made, this would be the time to do that.
Okay, I apologize. I thought that had to be a separate ordinance the way I understood it. I moved to lower the current property tax mill rate from 3.5 mils to 0.75 mil, or yes, 3.5 mils to 1.75 mils.
Second.
Didn't mean to goose you for a motion, but I know your intent was to do that. So thank you, sir, for that. Any discussion on that? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the motion to lower the mill rate from 3.5 to 1.75 mils, Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
and Mayor Church.
Yes. Anyone like to change their vote?
That passed 7-0.
Any further discussion on the budget itself or budget ordinance? Staff, do we have any concerns about the budget? Okay. No further discussion, public testimony? Okay, please call the roll on the entire ordinance, please.
On the motion to approve the ordinance 2025-13, the 2026 proposed budget, Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mayor Church,
Yes. Would anyone like to change their vote?
and that passed 7-0.
Okay. Thank you for that, council. That moves us on to item 11B, ordinance 2025-14. Can I get a motion, please?
Move to introduce ordinance 2025-14 end of year budget adjustment.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Staff report, Madam CFO.
I have nothing more to add other than what we talked about in the committee of the whole. I did, Michelle copied the possible changed amendment to the one line item, which is instead it would be transfer out. She didn't copy it in color, so it's it's the first credit on the fiscal note. And dollar's the same, just where we're pulling it from would be a possible amendment change.
Okay. Thank you. Any call for public testimony? Is there anyone signed up to speak to this?
There's not.
Okay. That brings us to council discussion. Any questions of the CFO? Councilman Brandt.
Do we have to make an amendment to make that change?
Right now I have it just kind of coming out of the fund balance, if you will.
Right.
When we're making these credit changes on our side to the budget, it's a little easier when we can lower an expense. And so I didn't think about this until maybe after we had our discussion.
Right.
And
But since you made the changes on this, do we have to make an amendment to change this because it's different than last time, or can we?
dollar amount is not different. It's just where we're changing it from. I'm not sure. I think if you just go with my recommendation to change it to transfer out, then I think that's all you need to do and then vote on it.
Any further discussion on this? Any additional questions? Please, Councilman Brandt.
So the way I understand that the $40,000 is to get us through the end of the year with our current lawyer. Is that correct?
Based off the bills we have now, that's correct.
So we won't have to come back next month and do this again.
Sure hope not.
Okay. Yeah, so do I. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you for this work on this, Madam CFO. I appreciate it. Please call the roll.
On ordinance 2025-14, end of year budget adjustment, Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mayor Church.
Yes. Would anyone like to change their vote?
Not past 7-0.
Okay, and item C is consented. I'm sorry, item C was withdrawn. 11C, it moves us on to 11D. Request council for the PFAS at the fire station. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
Move to approve the request to council for PFAS at the fire station.
Okay.
So moved and seconded. Director Glidden, can we get a staff report, please?
So this is just a proposal from Shannon and Wilson to do some more testing for the contaminated site of the North Pole Fire Department.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there anyone signed up to give testimony on this?
There's not.
Brings us to council discussion. Any questions?
I have one, Mr. Mayor.
Please, Councilman Schuster.
I guess might be a little lost on this. So in this letter from the state, they give these private wells, and these are some of the tests that we're gonna have Shannon Wilson test on these addresses.
Yes.
These are people that had the option to hook up to city water but didn't.
Right.
Do we have any idea if they're willing to let us take a sample?
No, the proposal is based on if they give us permission. Obviously, they won't charge us for a sample that they don't take.
Is this something that can hold off until, approve it tonight, but hold off till summer? People at these addresses might feel better it's taken from a outside spigot than somebody coming in their house to do it.
Yes. Yes, I've talked to DEC about the fact that we haven't done the testing yet. They wanted us to do it before snowfall, and they said they're okay with us starting the testing in the spring as long as we get the work plan and get a contract signed. So if we agree to this, then Shannon and Wilson will start working on the work plan portion of it. And if we want them to do the sampling in the wintertime, those numbers do reflect that. But if we want them to wait, then they would wait. Obviously, they're contracted by us, so they would do what we asked them to.
Just a
Yeah,
follow up on
go
that.
ahead.
If one of these owners said no, how would that change things? Would we have to test an additional property out of that list you spoke to earlier, or?
I haven't asked DEC specific, but if the homeowner doesn't let us test that area, then we would have to find another well probably in the close proximity. And if there isn't another well, we would have to probably drill one to test it.
Thank you.
Hopefully, they're going to be okay with us testing it.
Director Glidden, you mentioned that if we wait until spring, there would be a discount for that. Do you know what that discount would be if we waited until spring?
No, I don't know of any discounts.
Okay, you just mentioned that it would be less. Yes.
Do we have a baseline on all these wells? Or this is what we're doing now for us?
Most of the wells we've tested before, yes.
About numbers?
Yes. That's the idea, is we're getting more data to create trends.
If I may, on the upflow chart, would it be possible to ask Shannon and Wilson to test for PFOS, PFOA at the utilities site in addition to what we have, so that we know prior to the fire station what is actually there versus the downstream flow from the fire station? Do we know how many of those wells are upstream of the fire station that are being tested?
We can ask them to test whatever wells that we own or that we get permission to, yeah, for sure.
So any of those wells that you're suggesting that we test, are any of those on the upstream of the fire station, to know if that ground prior to our fire station is also contaminated with PFAS?
I don't know. I'd have to pull all these up on a map. I don't have a map of where they all are currently, but I wouldn't think that they're before the fire station now.
Any further discussion? I'd like to say my piece, and I'm going to be against this. I think there's too many unknowns about this. I understand ADEC wants to have the site tested and understand where that spread is. So does the city of North Pole, but there's a lot of unanswered questions that aren't presented in this paperwork, and for that, I'll be against this. Councilman Brandt.
So what are the consequences if we don't pass this with DEC?
So far, they haven't threatened us with anything. They've expressed some disappointment that we didn't test last year. And even if we pass this, we're not going to test this year. So I'm not sure how happy they're going to be with us, but they haven't currently threatened anything.
And your recommendation would be to pass this, I assume?
I would think so, yes.
Thank you.
Please, Chief.
I was just gonna say, it may not directly apply, but like with our DHS funding, we as a city can drop below a good standing with particular federal agencies. They have different classifications for different cities or whoever's partaking of their funding. So it might be worth checking into and just verifying that by not testing, we'd potentially forfeit some federal funding at some point or not be in good standing if we don't test.
Thank you for that. That's a good thought. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
The motion to approve the request to council PFAS at the fire station. Mr. Williams,
I say yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Mayor Turch.
No.
Would anyone like to change their vote?
That passed 6-1.
Right, thank you for that. Brings us on to new business. 12A, ordinance 2025-20. Final year-end budget adjustment. Can I get a motion to introduce, please?
Move to introduce ordinance 2025-20, final year-end budget adjustment.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Can we get a staff report, please?
What did you say? Oh, staff report? Okay.
Please. Thank you,
Um,
Madam CFO.
My hearing's still not quite up to par yet. So and the committee of the whole, I spoke to maybe adding the last three line items here in order to transfer some of the settlement fund, transfer all the settlement funds that we received last December into the respective accounts where they're earning interest. I just missed putting this on, and I called it the final one because it goes to 2 meetings for 2025. This needs to be the final one. So if somebody would make an amendment to add that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone signed up to testify on this?
There is not.
Anyone in the room? Okay, thank you. Council discussion. Councilman Brandt.
So I do have a question about those last three lines that you added. The transfer out, you have that as an increase? Should that be a decrease?
Well, we don't have a budget there, so it's increasing.
Okay, you're increasing the budget and then,
Right, because we don't have any transfer out in the litigation fund. So because it's zero, we're increasing it to this
that's
amount of
not
money.
in the budget yet, so we need to add it to the budget
Right,
and then
right.
add it to the different
Right.
funds.
So it's an increase on both sides.
Okay. So maybe we should just read this into the record or make a motion, I guess, since it isn't in our packet. So I move to transfer out $2 million from the litigation fund, transfer in $1 million to the water reserves, and $1 million to the sewer reserves.
Second.
So moved and seconded, and since this is the first reading, this ordinance will be in our next packet. So those who haven't had a chance to see the entire thing will be able to see that transfer. Any discussions on that?
Not on that, but I do have on the other one.
Okay, let's call the roll on that amendment change.
Okay, so remind me that there was 2 million from the litigation fund, 1 million into the water
Into
reserve,
the water reserve,
and 1 million, where was,
sewer reserve.
okay. So on the motion to transfer in 2 million from the litigation fund, transfer in 1 million to the water reserve fund, and transfer in 1 million to the sewer reserve fund. Mr. Skips?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
A point of clarification. I think it was repeated, transfer in to the litigation fund, but it's transfer out.
Oh, sorry. Transfer 2 million out of the litigation fund, transfer in 1 million to water reserve, and transfer in 1 million to the sewer reserve.
Thank you for the clarification.
Mr. Skips, you're still,
Yes.
yes, okay. Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Brandt?
Yes.
Mr. Claus?
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe?
Yes.
Mayor Church?
Yes. Anyone like to change their vote? Okay, seeing none. Councilman Brandt, you said you had another question about this ordinance, sir.
Yeah, so transferring the wages and benefits into, well, I'll let Chief Smith speak to this.
Yeah, so that comes back to, well, what you and I talked about some months ago with transferring 2025 to utilize that for 2026 fleet purchases and then hopefully leave a positive balance in that account that we can invest. So a couple things over 2025 contributed to that, not having a full-time employee, a couple full-time employees for much of the year. Dutra leaving and then the difference between his budgeted wage and what I'm being paid, and a couple other things. These numbers still leave a cushion in all of those accounts, and I'm still giving money back in other accounts. These were just the low-hanging fruit as far as a good transfer to make that's safe out of 2025 into 2026. So rather than tediously going through every single, because I could have pulled some probably from almost every single GL, this is how I opted to do it. Yeah.
Follow up.
So I understand your desire to build up the police fleet fund to a point where you can earn enough interest to buy a car out of that. That's your intent,
A car or some other smaller
right?
thing.
So I look at the police fleet fund different than the fire department fund. The fire department fund, when we're purchasing a fire truck, it's, $1 million, $1.5 million. We have to set money aside every year in order to achieve that, rather than, go 3 or 4 years with nothing and then all of a sudden take $1.5 million out to pay for a fire truck. With the police cars, they're $75,000 is what we paid for the last one. That's covered almost entirely by just the minimum that we put into the fleet fund from our property tax mills. So it would take $2.3 million or something like that. I think I figured out to have $75,000 in interest at the current AMLIP rate. I don't think it's necessary with the police fund to build the police fleet fund up like we have to build up the fire fleet fund or the public works, where we're buying, a dump truck or a loader for hundreds of thousands of dollars. The money would just go, if we take this out, it would just go back into the general fund. It is still earning the same amount of interest in the general fund reserves as it would in the police fund reserves. And at the beginning of the year, we're supposed to have a 3-year vehicle replacement program. In the first year, that is supposed to be part of our budget, so we know how much you want to spend in the current year. It's supposed to be that way for police, fire, and public works. So simply because the vehicles for the police department are so much less expensive than for the fire department, I don't think it's prudent to have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars sitting in a police fleet fund. I think at the beginning of the year, once a budget passed and we transfer the mandatory or what you've asked into the police fleet fund, I think that would be adequate. But having hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars sitting in there, I don't think is prudent.
So 2 things I would say to that. First, I'm doing this based on your recommendation from some months ago. This was actually your idea to do this. Second, I'm also thinking 20 years out. We're going to have to buy police cars forever until they come up with some other form of locomotion. That's going to be the way it is. So to me, it makes sense to, even if it's not a quick fix or a, instant gratification, start thinking that direction. I mean, if I could have a balance in 20 years where I'm able to pay for significant portions of my budget, not just cars, but other stuff, radios and laptops. Radios are like 7 to 10 grand a piece. Laptops right now are at least $5,000 a piece, and they have to be replaced on a pretty regular schedule. And so it's a capital fleet. It's the type of fund that can be used to accomplish some of those things and not have to dip into the normal budget. So to me, I don't think there needs to be just millions and millions of dollars sitting in there, but to not have our money working for us to replace some of those things, even if it doesn't measure up to a full car every year, to me makes really good sense that it can be targeted in that way.
Councilman Brandt.
Okay, first of all, we did sit down and talk about this months ago. I was recommending moving in the fleet fund contribution from the budget, not whatever leftover money you have for wages and salaries and things like that. Second of all, our money is working for us in the general fund reserves. We're getting, that's invested in the AMLIP account. And out of that, in your budget, you're requesting, I don't remember, $75,000 for new rifles and $18,000 for new computers. That's coming out of the general fund reserves that we have and out of our budget. So it already is earning that same interest that it would in the fleet funds. So saying that you can take it out of the fleet fund and it wouldn't come out of budget is not entirely accurate. It's just same money in two different pockets.
Councilman Claus.
So I have a quick question, Chief. As far as the money goes with AMLET, for instance, how difficult is it in an emergency to transfer that money back out?
It's not hard at all. Very easy.
Okay, any other discussion on ordinance 2025-20? Councilman Brandt.
I'd like to make a motion to just eliminate the that entire category, transfer out to the PD. The $226,000 debit and the $226,000 credits.
If you do that, I won't have enough money to even buy one car next year.
If I may, we put in $20,000 this year already, and then there's $60,000 going in from the mandatory contribution this year.
Yep, the car is going to be around 80,000, and then I also have to come up with another $8,000 for a video system and another $7,000 for a radio that has to go in the car. So I'm trying to be better about accurately representing what it actually costs to outfit a car. It's more in the neighborhood of 95,000 to 100,000 to get the thing fully outfitted. So just FYI.
I understand that, but the $226,000 can be sitting in our general fund reserves where it's always been put and be getting the interest, the same interest it would in the fleet funds. So.
Right, but $80,000 is all I will have if you don't do a transfer. That's not enough to buy one car.
And
You have a question, sir?
just a statement that then we do just a fiscal note and give you the difference. I respect where you're coming from. I just don't see the purpose to have hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in the police fleet fund like we need in the fire fleet fund. Completely different situations.
Any further discussion on ordinance 2025-20? Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Did we get a second on that?
There was no second.
On the motion to approve the ordinance 2025-20 final year end budget adjustment. Mr. Schuster?
This is on the whole.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Claus?
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe?
Yes.
Mr. Brandt?
Yes.
Mr. Skips? Mayor Church?
Yes. Would anyone like to change their vote? Count on that, Madam Deputy Clerk, 7-0, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Thank you for that. Moves us on to item 12B, a request to council. Can I get a motion to approve?
Request to approve the fire apparatus purchase.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded. I'll take staff report, Chief.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I didn't label that. This isn't exactly a request to make a purchase tonight. That's the first thing I want to clarify. This is a request to use Sourcewell, the cooperative purchasing agreement that we had used previously, I believe in 2021 when we ordered our last fire truck. As all of you know, there's anything over $100,000 by ordinance has to go out for an RFP. We know this fire truck is well exceeding that. We used Sourcewell, like I said, with the last fire truck, and what it does is it streamlines that RFP, the cooperative agreement that they have with multiple manufacturers across the country. We can utilize for other things that the city might actually use as well. It's worked out very well for us as the city in the past. I know other fire departments that have used them that it's worked out for. So what this request is actually asking for is for us to not use our normal procurement procedures in ordinance where we go out for an RFP. In ordinance, there is an allowance for the mayor or his designee to ask the council, which that's what we're doing at this time, for you to allow us to use Sourcewell. It meets and exceeds the requirements of our procurement. I've provided the clerk actually a hard binder of the written documentation of the contract, the bidding, the openings of the bids, where the contractor places on this. The contractor that we're proposing to use is the same one that manufactured our last truck, is Pierce. When you look at the documentation out of, I believe it was almost 30 manufacturers, Sourcewell ranked them as the number one. So we are using the number one ranked contract that Sourcewell provided. So that's what this is for, is to ask the council's approval to go forward with this. And then if this did pass tonight, sometime in January, I hope to have an actual purchasing agreement on your agenda to where we could actually make the purchase.
Thank you for that, Chief. Appreciate it. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up to speak to this?
We do not.
All right, thank you. That brings us to council discussion. Councilman Brandt.
Okay, I did speak to you earlier about this, and thank you for clarifying that we're not approving the purchase tonight, because if you read this, it says a payment quote and purchasing agreement. So that did kind of confuse me, but then you went on to say that you will be bringing it to council. So my question is, so you have not reached out to them yet to see if it would be cheaper to pay a significant portion up front, or at all of it up front yet?
Yes, I did. I reached out to HFE is the company we're working with, and they're going to get me 3 proposals. One proposal would be our cost to pay for it 100% up front, just like we did the last time, which I don't have that much in the fleet fund currently to do that. The second proposal would be to put $500,000 down. That's what I budgeted for in the budget you just passed. Is a down payment with predicted $250,000 payments for the next 3 years after, and then with any final payment at the end. And then a third option would be $250,000 down with $250,000 payments each year. So I'm waiting to get those back from them, and then that'll break down. They give us what he's referring to is we get discounts depending on how much we paid. Obviously, if we pay 100% up front, they give us the largest discount. That's the option we did use when we ordered one in 2021. Like I said, I don't have that currently in the fire department fleet fund for that option, but they're going to provide us those numbers, and that's something, if you would like, I can bring all 3 options to the council, or we can or I can kind of do the math and give you what my recommendation is. I'm open to presenting all 3 options to the council if that's what they prefer.
Follow up, Councilman Brandt.
Yeah, I think I would personally prefer that. So if it is a significant amount of savings, it would be wise to use some of the general fund reserves that we have to pay for that upfront. If it's going to be significantly more than we will be getting sitting in our AMLIP account.
Yeah, so that's how I'll plan to proceed is like I said, they were going to give us those 3 options. And when like I said, it'll be in January. before we get it onto the agenda, and then I'll have all three options available.
Thank you, Chief. Councilman Williams. Into your microphone, please, just so that those online can hear you. Thank you, sir.
I would like for you to give us your recommendation and we go off of that.
I definitely will give you that,
Okay.
without a doubt.
Okay.
But like I said, I have no problems, I mean, we definitely as a city want to do what's best for the city.
Right.
So we can look at all three options, and I absolutely will voice my opinion.
Okay, that's good.
But I'm not the decision maker, you all are, so.
Councilman Schuster.
Yeah, I just add one, at the end, this, link that you posted. When I went to click on that, it asked for login credentials.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I am
And so I don't know
sorry.
if there's any way to download that and send it out, or,
Very possible.
If you just type it in instead of clicking the link, it works.
Oh.
Because I
Okay.
did it last night.
yeah, all right, thanks.
And if like I said, everything in that documentation, the clerk does have a hard binder copy if you need to go that route as well.
Thanks.
Any other discussion? Deputy Clerk, please call the roll. Thank you.
And the motion to approve the request to council fire apparatus purchase. Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mayor Turch.
Yes. Would anyone like to change their vote?
That passed 7-0.
All right, thank you very much. That brings us on to action item 13, council comments excluding the mayor. Where shall we start this evening?
We are going to start with Mr. Brandt.
Well, I want to thank everybody for supporting my suggestions tonight on the reducing the property tax mill rate. It wasn't my first choice. I would rather have eliminated the online sales tax, but I listened to Mr. Schuster at the last meeting, and I feel that was a good compromise. Again, we're fully funded. Every department is fully funded. The reserves are funded at above minimums, and I think even with the reduction that we took, that we will be well over projected revenues for this year. So I do thank everybody for supporting me on that, and I want to thank our CFO for taking a considerable amount of time helping me with all of this, and Chief Smith and Chief Heineken also for sitting down with me. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Ms. Rolfe,
I have no comments.
Mr. Claus,
Thank you. Well, it's that time of year. Since I'm out there walking and other people do as well, be careful of the ice. Also, if you're out during the dark hours, be sure you have a light with you so that other pedestrians, vehicles, etc., are not going to run into you. Also, regarding the bus schedule, sometimes the buses between here and Fairbanks run late, either because of equipment problems or driver retention, etc. So if you know you're going to be out there for a long, long time, dress very warmly and drink plenty of fluids before you go out. And it's not quite time yet to wish people a Merry Christmas, but I'm going to give you a little primer. So next time we're here, I'll wish you all a Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Mr. Skips,
I have nothing.
Mr. Schuster,
Yeah, just to echo what Mr. Brandt said, I'm excited we're able to pass on some savings to the residents of the city. My hope in that is that it eases things on businesses, and in turn, not only can the consumer benefit from a decrease in their property taxes, but also provide some businesses with some relief on their tax bill, and hopefully in turn creates more affordability around the city. Second of all, I would like to just give a shout out to the mayor. I received an email, I'm sure all council members did, from Ms. Clark this weekend. She was really appreciative of the doggy bag and disposal station on the bike trail that you put in. So I just appreciate hearing from residents that we're able to make an impact. And, you know, sometimes that doesn't always show up at a council meeting, things like that, but you're able to work to get that done, and residents really appreciate that. So I thank you for that. Lastly, I'm not a weatherman, but they're calling for a pretty good storm this week and then plummeting to 30 below. So just a reminder, make sure, the last storm we had, there were some power outages in the city. Just make sure you're prepared and ready. That's all.
All right. And Mr. Williams?
I like to say that going through this budget, there's a lot to look at. And for those of us that have been here, like our CFO, she knows the ins and the outs, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's kind of hard to grasp for an individual that's been here for 3 years to understand or to know what she knows, because he doesn't. But anytime we got a problem, we can always go to her and she can help us. Now, for the rest of you guys know what each one of you need and the best route to go to save the city money. And I appreciate that. That's important to me. Okay. Always, in my opinion, always give your advice. Okay. Individuals up here may not like it because they're looking at saving money. Well, I can understand that. But when it comes to fire trucks, when it comes to police cars, and when it comes to Tim's guys working safe, all that equipment's got to be kept up, or you end up having more problems. So it's important that you guys give us your best advice and don't let us stray you one way or another. And what else was it? Something I thought of. Oh, we up here, money can always be switched around if you have to. If the chief needs another police car, we can always switch money around. Don't think that things are in what do I want to say, right, in tight, that we can't change anything, because you always change things and make it work. But go through the CFO because she knows the ins and the outs, which is very important. And I say that for a reason, okay? Because we need you. All right, and that's about. Oh, everybody have a nice Christmas. You know, be careful out there. You know, everybody take care. I'm done. Drop the mic. Next.
All right. That concludes council comments.
Move to adjourn.
We've got an executive session.
Oh, we are?
I'd like to move to suspend the rules and move into executive session. Let's take a 5-minute break.
I didn't have that.
Thank you for joining us this evening.
Like the last 3. Oh, I thought it was done.
Staff, if you'd like to stay for the executive session.
How are you? Good to see you. Oh, man, that was a blast. That was a blast. It was great.